Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who definitely wasn't born 2 drinks below par. It's Greg. How are you today, buddy?
Well, a bit tired, as I was just saying. Busy week. Last week, I was on the road again, like all week. Didn't get back until Friday morning.
Road again. Oh,
and then
that's shocking.
We had a day out yesterday for a friend's birthday. I was in bed at 8:30 last night, probably.
Oh, wow.
Asleep by 9, but then because I went to bed so early, I woke up at like 3:30, and I was awake for like an hour before.
Okay.
Before I think I don't really feel like I slept, but kind of dozed until kind of 7:30 or so, and I just gave up and got up. As you do. It's horrible, that, isn't it, when you fall asleep too early and you wake up too early.
Yeah, it's that kind of feeling of like, you don't feel like you've slept. I know exactly what you mean. You think you kind of dozed, but you kind of feel you haven't slept, but you maybe have been, because that's, 4 hours is a long time to be lying awake. But if you think you might have slept a bit, then you probably did.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. It's a fucking horrible feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that thing where you're sort of dozing, you know what I mean? You're sort of nodding out and waking up again. And obviously we're recording this, well, no, it's not obvious to anybody, but we're recording this on a Sunday. So it's a school night as well, back to work tomorrow.
Oh, so we'll get you all finished nice and early, don't worry. But yes, we are recording this on the Sabbath. The Sabbath, which we will obviously be discussing a lot more detail later on in the show. But yeah, everything else good with you?
Yep, I'll be back in God's country this time next week.
What are you looking forward to most? What's the first thing you're going to be consuming or doing, or...
I don't know, I'll definitely at some point be having a roll and chips with salt and vinegar from the Blue Lagoon in Glasgow at some point. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward just to getting back. I'm going to be in Glasgow on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, catching up with some pals on Saturday that I've not seen for a long time in town for a few beers. So that'll be fun. And then Sunday, I'm getting the train up to Aberdeen, and I'm going to see my mother and my stepfather for a couple of nights, and then back down. Little bit of life admin to deal with on Tuesday. Wednesday, probably back at the town for some last bits and bobs, and then flying back here on Thursday. So it'll go quick, it always does. But yeah, it'll be nice to get a bit of fresh air about me,
Yeah, it's definitely a little whistle-stop tour that you're doing there.
Yeah,
but it'll be nice.
A tight week.
A tight week. But, as you say, in God's own country, so you will have a wonderful time in terms of Scotland, and I'm sure you'll get to do lots of things. You'll get to have all the good food and all the good, get some proper iron brew and get some...
I can feel my arse itching already at the phrase proper food, because when I'm in the UK, so they drink a bit more because you're on holiday and you tend to drink different things, like different beers and stuff, because there's a good selection. They always end up with a really itchy arse. You know what I mean? Just having to go to the toilet a lot more often. It's the same when I'm in it was like the same when I was in America as well, because I'm just sort of drinking all the time and eating American food and stuff. And yeah, I take it that, well, as a vegetarian, that might not be something that afflicts you no matter where you go.
Yeah, I would say so. I haven't really noticed anything. Well, of course, yeah, I did. Went to Japan and ate a lot of fish and developed an intolerance to it.
Yeah.
But there was that. But yeah, as a vegetarian, you're kind of simple.
Just always got an itchy arse.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say so. No, maybe no, not really. But then I take care. You could put some cream on, take some Sudocrem with you, and put that on your arse if it's itchy.
yeah, maybe I will.
Or top tip, a little cotton ball just between your arse cheeks. Prevents any sweating of the arse as well.
Yeah.
That's a top tip for you. You can put it in talc as well if you want to really go over the top.
Yeah, talcum powder. That's good. Yeah. I mean, do you remember when you were wee, sort of getting out the bath and getting dried and just being covered in talcum powder?
Yeah. Haven't done that in a very long time.
I don't even know what talcum powder's for.
I don't know, actually. I think it is like for a chafing kind of thing. I think I used it a little bit when I was running a lot, because I did find I was chafing a little bit in the arse. But it was because it was sweaty and then it was chafing. So yeah, a little bit. I bought some specific deodorant that you can buy for that.
for your arse.
Yes. Yeah, it's for runners. Yeah, it's specific deodorant. But then, I did use some talc for a while, but it's just a fucking mess. It's just talc everywhere. And it's like, no one needs this. So
I just asked Google AI what talcum powder is for. It's used to absorb. So Google says it's used to absorb moisture, reduce friction, create a smooth texture in various products. It's found in cosmetics like face and body powders, baby powders. However, due to potential links to asbestos contamination and possible health concerns, many companies and health organizations recommend avoiding using talcum powder in the genital area.
Oh, well, don't put talc on your arsehole, Greg. There's a little simple fact for you. Right, anyway, enough about that. Okay, shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks, Greg?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen that's been happening in Scotland ahead of your visit there that you'd like to share with me and our lovely listeners?
So there's been a story that it's almost made the podcast. It's been rumbling on for maybe about a month now. There's been at least 2 episodes before this one where it's been on my list, but then something better has taken it away. But in Jedburgh, in Roxburgh, there has a small African tribe about 5 or 6 weeks ago moved in and established the Kingdom of Kubala, much to the chagrin of the Jedburgh locals. So this story comes from the Scottish Sun, and it reads, the king and the handmaiden of the so-called Kingdom of Kubala have been arrested by immigration officers during a dawn raid. Just before 8 a.m. on Thursday, 8 border control staff and cops swooped on the group who were camping in woods near Jedburgh, Roxburghshire. Moments later, a live video on social media taken by the group showed the king, Coffee Offay, 36, being cuffed by the agents as handmaiden Cora Taylor, 21, was also in it. The video was broadcast live by Offay's wife, Jean Gasho, on their TikTok channel. During the video clip, the Home Office enforcement team tell Offay, who is originally from Ghana, who has been arrested on suspicion of overstaying in the UK before placing him in handcuffs. Taylor from Texas in the US laughed and said she was going on vacation as she was cuffed before the pair were led away to waiting vans and taken to a custody centre. It's believed they were taken to a police station outside of Jedburgh for questioning. Queen Jean left the area undercover in a pickup truck before council staff were called in to clear up the group's possessions that they left behind. A source told how they now face being deported if they have breached strict immigration rules. The insider said, there is suspicion that Coffee has overstayed after coming here to stay with Jean many years ago. It seems there is real doubt that the couple have ever been legally married. Therefore, Coffee could be here illegally. As for Cora, she's been getting money for donations through some online platform, so that could put her in breach of her visa. Now they have both been taken away to be processed and questioned, and they face being deported. This is the group's second eviction in as many weeks, after they mocked a previous eviction order by moving 20 foot from private land to a council-owned plot where they were removed from today. At a council meeting last week, local councillor and deputy council leader Scott Hamilton branded the group vile and blasted cops for not using a 150-year-old law to take action. Welcoming the eviction, he said, it's really positive that we have got to this point. It's been a difficult battle with courts and private landowners. The group previously told how they were reclaiming land that was stolen from their ancestors 400 years ago and refused to recognise the powers of the courts to evict them. The Scottish Sun told in an earlier issue how Taylor was confirmed to be a waitress reported missing by her family in Texas. Taylor's family previously expressed concerns that she was being brainwashed into staying with the Kubala. Yeah, so there's a problem with their claim that the land was taken off them 400 years ago, because 400 years ago would have been the 1600s. And I'm pretty sure any black people who were in the UK in the 1600s probably weren't landowners, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do know what you mean. And we will carefully go round this story and issue. Exactly as you said, this has been in the newspapers over the last few weeks, and I think I've picked it a couple of times and just haven't done it because there's been something probably better or more suitable. But it is something that, we do discuss. It's a bizarre story though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That this African tribe have just decided that they're going to pitch up in Scotland and stake claim to this land in Jedburgh, and it has been ruffling quite a few feathers.
I'm not sure Jedburgh is the most sort of diverse part of Scotland anyway, so I can imagine that people are probably quite perturbed by a little tribe setting up shop in their local woods. But very, very odd story. The guy, O'Fay, is a weird guy as well. He's posed as a millionaire entrepreneur in flash suits, claimed to mix with super rich clients. In 2021, Queen Jean boasted that he was a property magnate with a fortune to his name. He's a millionaire king, apparently. But yeah, I mean, a very, very odd guy. It's a really odd situation. You know what I mean? Like, and I can only guess that the young girl that's been the handmaid, and she must have been here on a tourist visa or something like that, because or a student visa, because she's only 21. So it becomes a wee bit sort of sinister, doesn't it, when you put that part of the tale into it.
Yeah, I think so. And as I say, I mean, I've read a fair bit about, but not read enough to probably be able to talk about this in a correct kind of manner and stuff. But yeah, it's just an odd story in terms of that they've sort of been in the woods for a fair while now, and it's their kingdom. But they were filming like a lot of stuff live on TikTok. Yeah. So it's a bizarre. Part of you does think, is this a stunt in some way? But I don't think it is. I think they really genuinely want to lay claim to this land. But I did read that the councillor said he was very relieved at the eviction and stuff, and that it's been a long effort by the local council and police. So it's a bizarre situation. Yeah,
a weird one. I mean, I suspect that it is probably just some kind of publicity stunt, attention seeking. I mean, you can't claim that you want to go back to a simpler life and then film it all on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Do you think they're trying to get like a Netflix documentary or something, but they'll probably end up with like a Channel 5 documentary on it or something like that?
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I suppose if you're somebody who's on TikTok who has a lot of followers and stuff, then people can start offering you revenue, right, to advertise on your page and things. So I suspect it's probably a means to generate some cash. Although I do wonder where they were plugging their phones in the woods. Yeah,
that strikes me as a good question as well. What were they doing? What were they eating? What were they... What was their plan? If they were to stake claim to this land and set up their own kingdom, what were their import and export, things? What were they trying to do? Do you need a passport to go on their land or not? Like, it's a very strange thing. What are their laws? It really needed to go into a bit further, but I guess we're probably not going to find out now.
We'll never know. Neither we will.
No.
I love it how your first concerns are fiscal concerns. What will the currency be? What will their major export?
You never know. Well, I'm just trying to skirt round any terms that might get cancelled or anything like that, to be honest, mate.
Anyway, maybe we should move swiftly on to your first story this week.
My first story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is Nae Good. A popular Scottish takeaway was forced to change its name months after opening after getting caught up in a bizarre branding row. Nae Bad Spud opened its first baked potato shop on Byron Square in Northfield, Aberdeen, earlier this summer on June the 20th. And it quickly became a favourite among locals for its best quality foods, including its fluffy baked potatoes, loaded fries, and nacho boxes. But weeks after welcoming customers for the first time, owners Angela McCall and David Groves have said they've been caught up in a branding row over the branch's name. They revealed that they have recently heard from solicitors for Nae Bad Food, another restaurant in Elgin, who claim that they have a trademark for Nae Bad. Angela and David said the letter advised them that they could no longer use this name, adding that Nae Bad Food wanted to use its trademark without ongoing confusion. The duo said they were totally shocked by the letter and said that the phrase has become common Scottish slang over the years and is used by several other businesses across the country. The phrase, widely used to mean not bad, is normally used when a person is asked how they are doing. The firm is now being forced to rename its shop Nae Just Spuds, which is costing the owners thousands of pounds to rebrand all their signage, decor, sponsorships and social media accounts. They forked over £5,000 to change everything down to aprons, signs, business cards and uniforms. Angela and David said the new name will tie in with new additions to the menu. However, they've been left heartbroken by the decision as they shared the news with customers on social media. In a post on Facebook, the bosses said, "We normally like our posts to be positive. However, this one is a little bit more serious and sad today. In July, we received a legal email advising us we could no longer use Nae Bad Spuds. And we're totally shocked by this news as we followed all the correct procedures to our knowledge. This business advised us we can no longer trade under the name Nae Bad Spud. They own the trademark to the word Nae Bad. So therefore, anyone who tries to use it is in breach of copyright. It blows my mind that this is such common Scottish slang, and I've googled so many other businesses since receiving this news, and there are heaps that use the words Nae Bad." Well, you better grass them up then, mate. For some reason, this person has decided to target us, and I found the entire thing heartbreaking to say the least. You will also see a name change happening inside and outside the shop and on Just Eat, but it's still us. We haven't been under new ownership and are basically making the best out of a bad situation. So yeah, I mean, this generally, they did contact BBC Scotland and they said that the words Nae Bad in general were not what the issue was. It was the fact it was connected to food, restaurants and takeaway. So that's why Nae Bad Food and Nae Bad Spud are kind of, sort of the thing there. They did contact Nae Bad Food and they said, look, we just want to protect our trademark without any ongoing confusion. And I think that is perfectly legitimate. Coming from the world of like branding and stuff, I think it's perfectly legit. It is, it's okay. It's not exactly local, but it's Elgin to Aberdeen. There could be confusion, Nae Bad Spud, Nae Bad Food. I can see where that could arise. But yeah, this poor company has had to spend £5,000 to rebrand Nae Bad Spud to Nae Just Spuds. Now, a baked potato, where do you stand on that?
I like a baked potato. I used to like the Tasty Tatty on School Hill.
Yeah.
You get a wee baked potato with macaroni and cheese or something in it and something like that after a night out.
I don't know. I'm just not a fan. No. Like I quite like a baked potato now and again. I like potatoes, but something about a baked potato. It wouldn't be my weapon of choice on a night out to go and get a baked potato.
No, I mean, it wouldn't be my weapon of choice either, because ideally I want something that I could just pick up with my hand and stick in my face. Do you know what I mean? After a night out, whereas a baked potato does require a degree of cutlery manipulation. So, but, it depends what's in it, I suppose. I love how, it's such a Scottish thing, isn't it, to call your business Nae Bad something. You know what I mean? It's just, it's just like this, it's just this complete lack of optimism that we seem to have collectively. Like, it's Nae Bad. You know what I mean? Like, where the words Nae Bad actually mean that something is pretty good. You know what I mean? I
don't think I really realised that and broke it down until probably I was living in Dubai, because that's my go-to. People would be like, how are you? Not bad. And people would be concerned, is everything okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, why? Well, you've said not bad. I mean, it's not good. I'm like, no, everything's fine. So I guess I had to stop saying that. But yeah, I would say, it's just my instinct. Yeah, I'm not bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I tend to say that as well, but it's, not bad. How are you doing? Not bad. Not great. Not brilliant. You're like, you meet people from the US, you're like, I come across quite a lot of Americans through my work and stuff, and they'll be like, how are you doing? Great, yeah, great. And then they proceed to tell you why they're great. Then they ask me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not bad.
I'm all right. Yeah. Surviving.
Be doing a lot better if I didn't have to deal with you for the next fucking 5 days.
It's just a term. I don't know. It's just this thing we use. Like the other week, I text my brother-in-law and I was like, hey, I text him probably later in the evening, knowing he would get it the next morning.
Yeah.
because of the time difference. So I think I sent someone like, hello, good morning. Hope you have a glorious Tuesday and day ahead. Then sent the rest of the message, had a question to ask him. And his reply, morning, Nikki, every day above ground is a glorious day. like such a Aberdonian or Scottish thing to say. Any day we're not dead's fine. So it's, I think it is a good thing. Nae Bad, Spud. Nae Bad, they're all right. But yeah, if you were to call your business, you're right. Like if you were to say, all right, burgers, then are you going to get a lot of custom there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you probably would in Scotland, but maybe not anywhere else. Yeah.
No, they're just all right. Who knows? But yeah, let's wait and see if how the business gets on with the name change. Okay, what else have you seen this week, buddy?
Well, on the last episode of the Culture Swally, where we were covering Fear, the drama series on Amazon Prime starring James Cosmo and Martin Compston, I had a news story about the new Highlander film and how Dave Bautista is really looking forward to coming to Scotland to film the film. He's playing the Kurgan, the big baddie. He's not the only WWE superstar to be featured in Highlander, and perhaps inevitably, being that he's the most prominent Scot in wrestling maybe at the moment, WWE star Drew McIntyre also can't wait to return home to film the new Highlander film. Because we were talking, weren't we, about wrestlers and how, when wrestlers turned their hand to acting when we were younger, like when Hulk Hogan or someone did it, they were always a bit wooden, whereas these days you've got guys like John Cena, for example, who, he's fantastic in almost most things that I've seen him in. He's got a new series of Peacemaker on at the moment, and he's very good. Dave Bautista is a pretty good actor. So now Drew McIntyre is getting in on the act, as it were. The 6'5" two-time WWE champion from Ayr will star as the brother of main character Connor, played by Henry Cavill in the remake of the 80s fantasy movie. Drew's real name, Andrew Galloway, the 40-year-old who kicked off his WWE wrestling career in 2007, also made his film debut in the 2024 thriller The Killer's Game. Never heard of it. Sorry, Drew. However, McIntyre, who moved to the US to further his wrestling career and became a US citizen in 2023, admitted that he misses home. Speaking exclusively to the Sunday Mail, he said, "It's a great story. I am working with a talented cast and I get to film in Scotland. There is nothing about this role that isn't perfect. I enjoy living in the US, but of course I miss Scotland. Proud to be Scottish, and anytime anyone asks me a question about Scotland, I'm always happy to answer and let the rest of the world know what an amazing country it is." McIntyre joins fellow actor and ex-WWE wrestler and Marvel star Dave Bautista, Drew's ring mentor, who is playing the immortal Kurgan in the reboot of the 1986 classic. The original film starred French actor Christophe Lambert as 16th century clansman MacLeod and Sean Connery as his Egyptian mentor, Ramirez. Inverness-born Karen Gillan, who found fame on Doctor Who, is also set to play Heather, the wife of Henry's character. Filming of the remake was due to begin in the Highlands later this year, but it's been delayed due to Cavill injuring his leg. So I guess we probably won't get to see Highlander until maybe tail end of next year or maybe even 2027. But I'm looking forward to it.
And of course, this we forgot to mention on the last episode, because of course this does stick with a bit of tradition, because I wonder if, well, we know obviously what Batista and McIntyre are going to be doing, but I wonder if there will be any additional wrestlers in it, because of course there are quite a few wrestlers in the original Highlander. You have Michael Hayes, is in the wrestling match at the start, and I think Sam Fatu as well, which is I think he's the uncle of the Usos,
right?
And I think he's Rikishi's brother. So, like, somehow related to The Rock.
Right,
as well.
Okay.
I mean, Michael Hayes is kind of the big one that is in the start of Highlander at the wrestling match. So that
Fabulous Freebirds.
Yeah, that could be a good way to get some extra talent into the film. Although I wonder if there'll be a wrestling match at the start or if it'll be something else. If it'll be UFC or something nowadays.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it would be good if they paid a bit of homage to the original with maybe a McLeod hyperventilating in Madison Square Garden as the Freebirds touch their nipples and pelvic thrust before they start wrestling, and he starts thinking about battles between clans back in the 17th century.
I think Michael Hayes might be a bit old nowadays to be touching his nipples on screen, but you never know. You never know. Maybe we could see this.
Yeah, I saw him. I watched the documentary about the behind the scenes of WWE on Netflix. The one, I forget what it's called. I think you told me about it. Where it's truly behind the scenes, perhaps never before. And obviously Michael Hayes is quite a senior guy in that program, isn't he? In terms of the storytelling and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
No, he's a very well-respected individual, I think. Very well-respected and has a good brain. So, but I don't think you're going to want to see him touching his nipples. No,
I'm sure not. Anyway, that's my second story. What's your next story this week?
My next story is from Aberdeen Live this week, Greg, and it enraged me and
triggered,
boiled my piss as to why is this in news and this is nothing new. Why are you giving this publicity? So from Aberdeen Live this week, Peterhead family leave shoppers in stitches after sticking googly eyes on Aldi products. A mischievous family has left fellow shoppers in stitches, Greg, after they sneakily stuck googly eyes on various products around a Peterhead Aldi store. Mum of two, Laura, got the idea to stick the comedy eyes on unsuspecting items after spotting them at a local arts and crafts store. No, you fucking didn't, Laura. This has been around for years and years. You've seen this somewhere else. And while attempting to bring some fun to a mundane Sunday afternoon, you haven't brought any fun to my Sunday afternoon, Laura. Laura, who runs the Northeast Quine page on Facebook, visited her local Aldi with her husband John and their two children. And aside from just doing their shopping, the family had much bigger plans to attend to. As they headed round the store, they picked out products with various faces, carefully deciding whether a small googly eye would be suitable, or if a larger googly eye was better placed, each in terms of comedic value. In the hilarious clip, which has now been viewed over 300,000 times, Jesus wept, Laura can be heard saying, "What a laugh we just had in Peterhead Aldi," the record reports. As the video continues, the family can be heard giggling as they place the novelty eyes on a number of products, including the Madry Lager Man, the Biamoretti Man, dog food, cat food, a large potato, a butternut squash, nappies, and our personal favourite, some golden yolk free-range eggs. The family can be heard in hysterics as they somehow manage to carry out the hijinks without being caught by staff. Speaking to the record, Laura said, "We just did it for a laugh. I was in Hobbycraft the other day with my friend, and I said to her, how funny would it be to do it? So I picked up a bag of small eyes and a big bag of big eyes. My daughter's 8 and my son's 14. It's just so hard to find fun things to do with them. They both hate shopping, so it was just a fun way to get them to have a laugh together. We all got involved putting the eyes on. And the funniest part was that other customers seeing us doing it. And a few of my followers recognised us. Seeing them giggling away at what we were doing was so funny as well." Laura says she regularly shops at the Aldi store. I hope they fucking banned you now for doing this, because you've been contaminating products, Laura. And was inspired by the supermarket giant's own cheeky social media posts. She continued, "I don't think any staff saw us, but it definitely brought out the teenager in me and John. I hope Aldi think it's funny. I'm always up for a laugh, and I shop in Aldi every week. I love their funny posts on social media. If any supermarket would find this kind of thing funny, it would definitely be them, and that's why we chose to go there." No, you didn't. You just said you go there every week, Laura. You're not choose to go there. Social media users were in stitches as they headed to the comments. David Shan said, "Ha ha, love it. I'd be in knots if I bought that box of eggs when I opened the lid." David Kirkham laughed. "Folk all over Peterhead checking their cupboards the now." And Amanda Davidson says, "Imagine peeking in the egg box and they were looking back at you." They are going round sticking googly eyes on products in supermarket. This is just tampering with goods to me. This isn't funny, and it's nothing new either. Why is this news?
It's just attention seeking, isn't it, I think? I mean, it's
It
just...
is.
I mean, I'm serious. The guy who records a podcast with his mate every 2 weeks is accusing somebody of attention seeking, right? But I like to think of this as a sort of civic duty, because it still astonishes me that there isn't a dedicated... Well, certainly I've not come across a dedicated Scottish film and television podcast, which I find really surprising. So it's not a case of attention seeking, it's a case of responsibility to the artists that have gone before. What these arseholes are doing is just attention seeking. They're addicted to likes on their TikTok.
If you were in the supermarket and you opened a box of eggs and it had googly eyes on it, would you laugh, or would you just think, oh, for fuck's sake, put the eggs back and get another box?
I'd probably put the eggs back and get another box. I mean, I would probably be kind of amused for a second. Like, haha, it's funny. But then I put them back because, I don't know, I don't want to take home eggs that somebody's stuck googly eyes onto.
Yeah, it's just the contaminating of products. I know it's on the packages, but there is a butternut squash, and yes, you could argue you don't eat the skin of that. So there is a thing of, okay, they're not contaminating anything that anyone's eating. Why am I being so sensible here? But I don't know, it just annoyed me. I think that's why I'm being sensible. If it hadn't annoyed me, I'd be like, oh, it's a good laugh. It's all fine, good on them. But for some reason, it got to me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you might say, well, it's harmless, really, but it's just the thing that's annoying about it is just the reason why they're doing it. You know what I mean? It's
What, because they found it difficult to find entertaining things to do with their kids?
I know. I mean, that's a lot of pish anyway. And I'm sure, how old was the son? 14?
Yeah, 8 and 14.
I'm sure he doesn't want to hang out with his fucking mum in the supermarket anyway. He probably wants to be out with his pals.
Yeah, and a Sunday afternoon going to Aldi with your mum and dad and little sister, that's not an exciting time when you're 14. I mean, you're wanting them to go out, so you've got the house to yourself, so you can just go and rip the heat off it.
Yeah, exactly. What was on a Sunday afternoon that was good for that? I don't think there was a lot when we were young on a Sunday. I mean, you had Saturday, you had Baywatch.
Yeah, but I mean, nowadays, Greg, we live in the time that, yes, we had to resort to wanking to Little House on the Prairie back in the day, or Land of the Giants. But nowadays,
Hollyoaks Omnibus.
Yes, Hollyoaks Omnibus. Whereas nowadays, obviously, with lots of streaming services, so they'd be able to pick anything, or if they borrow their dad's credit card, they could access porn. But
well, I remember Ben Elton had a theory that the reason Baywatch was on at that time on a Saturday afternoon is because the TV controllers knew that there's a good chance that dads would be in the house by themselves, because mums would be out shopping and kids would be out playing when dads would be in by themselves, and that was why.
Exactly. That is quite a very good observation, to be fair. I think that maybe could be a good reason why. Yeah. Makes sense, really, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonder if Baywatch holds up. I mean, did it hold up at the time, though? I watched it, but I don't remember.
I remember enjoying Baywatch on different levels. I mean, obviously, I was 14, 15 when it was on, so I was literally just a throbbing collection of hormones. So I enjoyed it for those reasons. But it was also pretty good as well. Hasselhoff I was a fan of his from his Knight Rider days, so... and I quite like Billy Warlock as well. I thought he was quite cool. And of course, all the Pamela Andersons and all the lovely young ladies that were in it back then.
That was the first Scud mag I ever owned. It wasn't Pamela Anderson, it was Donna D'Enrico.
And Playboy.
Or Donna DeRico, I think her name was. Yeah, Donna DeRico, yeah. That was in Baywatch. Yes, Playboy. Yeah, that was the first Scud mag I ever owned. My school friend, whose name I can't remember now, he stole it for me from the John Menzies at the top of Union Street.
Did he really?
He did, yeah, because he'd stolen one for himself, and we were looking at it, and I was like, oh, I'd like one of those, and he stole it for me.
What a good friend.
Yeah.
One of the first ones that I had, that I've been passed around a bit, was was Drew Barrymore's Playboy
Oh, okay.
issue that she did when she was... I don't think she was fully off the rails. I think she was maybe like on one rail. You know what I mean? Up on two wheels. So not quite completely off the rails. I think she was in the process of getting back on, and obviously thought the best thing she should do is a naked Playboy spread.
Did you like that because you're such a big fan of her in E.T., or...?
I don't know, because I'm trying to think what I would have seen Drew Barrymore in before that. It might have been... I might have only ever seen her in E.T., because this is like pre-Wedding Singer, and...
It would have been, I'm not speaking for you, but just from my personal experience of taped off the telly and worn out a bit, would it maybe have been the film Poison Ivy?
Is that the one with the girl out of Roseanne in it? That's in the Big Bang. It's in the Big Bang Theory as well. Is she a co-star in that?
Yes, I think she is. Yeah.
That might have been.
Yeah,
probably was.
I think that's exactly it. Is it? Sarah Gilbert.
Yeah.
I think it's her dad, isn't it? That Drew Barrymore's character kind of seduces. Or something.
Yeah. It's a different time.
So, yeah. So, 14-year-old boys should be whacking off to that and not sticking googly eyes on products in Aldi. But never mind. As long as the family had fun, then that's okay. But yeah, for some reason, it just annoyed me slightly. Yeah. Anyway, to calm down a little bit, have you seen anything else this week, Greg?
No, that's all.
Okay, right. Well, before we go into what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
Fruit and fish and frozen foods, furnishings and fancy goods, clothing, gifts and wrapping paper, plants and sheets and Leo Sayre, children's wear and knitting wools, picture frames, alarms and tools, potions, lotions for your face. You get it all at the Marketplace. Over 100 covered shops. The Marketplace, Savoy Centre, Sucky Hall Street.
Okay, Greg, so it was your choice on this episode of the podcast. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
So this week, we're going back to 1949, the oldest thing that we've reviewed on the Culture Swally, and we've been going for nearly 5 years at this point, and it's a true classic. Whisky Galore, the Ealing comedy classic. So when wartime rationing causes the fictional Scots island of Today to run out of whiskey, the islanders are bereft. That is until a ship wrecks just off the coast carrying 50,000 cases of the stuff. The islanders make plans to requisition it while staying out of the way of the home guard, Captain Waggart. So huge cast in Whisky Galore. Huge cast. The only person that I really recognised in there is the Professionals' Gordon Jackson. But 1 hour 22 minutes, sort of gentle-ish knockabout comedy. Classic film based on a true event, and the book by Compton Mackenzie, who writes the screenplay along with frequent Hitchcock collaborator Angus MacPhail, and Compton Mackenzie also managed to get himself a part in the film as the captain of the ship, the cabinet, what's it called? The cabinet minister that wrecks off the coast of the island with all the whiskey on it. The true event was the running aground of the SS politician. So yeah, I remember watching this with my granny when it was on one Saturday or Sunday afternoon, probably a Saturday, because as we've litigated at length, the TV was absolutely fucking shite on a Sunday in the 1980s. So it must have been a Saturday. But this was the first time of coming back to watch it in a really long time. What about you?
Exactly the same as you, mate. I mean, I'd seen it many years ago. I don't know when, but it would have been a Saturday or Sunday afternoon on BBC or something. Yeah. But a very long time since I revisited. So yeah, but it was a real treat to revisit this. It's exactly as you said. It's just a knockabout kind of comedy. It's fun. It's short. It's not a huge story. There's not a lot of upbeat movies about drinking. And this is definitely one of them. And of course, it's Scottish. Or is this a harrowing drama about Scottish Islanders' reliance on alcohol? But I don't know which way you put it. But no, it's a fun film. It's about alcohol. It's about whiskey. It's a fun premise. We're telling my girlfriend the premise of the film, and she thought it was hilarious. And especially when you know it is based on a true story. Talking about the actual true story, the SS politician, it did indeed crash. And it was two islands that were effectively trying to get this the whiskey. But one island was Catholic and one was Calvinist. So the Calvinists were allowed to work on the Sabbath, but the Catholics weren't. So the Calvinists managed to loot most of the whiskey before the Catholics were able to get to it. And that's why the Sabbath is such a big thing in the book and in the film. But yeah, it's amazing that it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful little film in terms of it sets up, I mean, it's pretty quick that it gets into the kind of cull of it, but it sets up this lovely little island of Toddy, and, you know, you kind of get the feeling the war hasn't really hit the people on the island particularly. But then when the whiskey runs out, that is the worst thing that could possibly happen. And the way that it's presented with such abject horror and terror is brilliant. It's so well done that you're kind of feeling sorry for these islanders, but it's so hilariously done as well.
Yeah, I mean, the book also has the two island set up, only rather than being Protestant, the Calvinist island is rather being Calvinist, the other island's Protestant. And apparently Mackenzie wasn't that happy that they had sort of condensed it into one island. So, you know, but I'm sure he got over it when he got his fee. But it is it's a gentle, by today's standards, it's a really gentle sort of situational comedic movie. And the studio Ealing that made it are like famous for that type of film. And there's maybe about half a dozen very, very famous British films that are in the top 100 British films, which that the BFI put together about 20 years ago. But movies like Kind Hearts and Coronets, The Lavender Hill Mob, The Man in the White Suit, The Lady Killers, probably the four that are the best known. There's another one set in Scotland called The Maggie, which maybe we'll do one of these fine days. It's got shades of Local Hero in it, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the movie is filmed like this. It's supposed to be a kind of outer Hebridean island, so that's why they all have that sort of island accent when they go up a couple of octaves toward the end of a sentence. But it was actually filmed in Barra, and a lot of Scottish actors in there, but most of the sort of principal actors are English, doing Scottish accents, varying degrees of success. I would say from sort of middling to poor being the scale there.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, there were times where I thought that Joan Greenwood, who played Peggy, I mean, we'll come back to her at length later on. Yeah, there were a few times where I was like, is she meant to be Welsh? But so the accents can be a little bit all over the place at times. I would agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, Gordon Jackson is from Glasgow. And, you know, he kind of made his living as a kind of Scottish character actor. I think he's in the prime of Miss Jean Brodie as well with, what's her name? Her of Harry Potter, Maggie Smith. I shouldn't say her of Harry Potter because she's actually a very distinguished actress.
Dame Maggie Smith, her of Harry Potter. We have spoken on this podcast about how pissed off we get that people will always think of Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid.
Yeah.
And just referred to Dame Maggie Smith as her off Harry Potter.
Yeah, sorry, the late Dame Maggie Smith. I do apologise. Obviously. A very, very accomplished theatre and film actress or actor, and a lot more in her quiver than just McGonagall of Harry Potter. But Joan Greenwood, the way that she talks really quite slowly and drawn out, but apparently that is the way that she spoke. She's just doing it with a bit of a sort of weird Celtic accent.
Just because she's a saucy temptress, is that why?
I mean, but she's an absolute smoke show, but in the sort of in a quite a modern way. She doesn't look like a sort of 1940s starlet. She looks more like a sort of 21st century actress, you know, big gorgeous actress.
I mean, if they remade this for an American audience, and I mean they did remake this, we'll come back to that later, but if they were to remake this for like an American audience now, I mean it would be Sydney Sweeney that would be playing her character. That's the best way you can describe it. Yeah, she's an absolutely beautiful smoke show is the perfect description. But I mean, her sister's not bad either. But And we'll come back to them because I have got some questions about the setup there and what's going on there. It's very thing. But yeah, it's the accents are a bit strange, but yeah, it's a very gentle film and it's such a simple premise. This island's run out of whiskey. Yeah. I did love effectively they're told that there's no whiskey left, and a man is told there's no whiskey. He staggers home, takes to his bed, and then dies.
He dies. Do we know he dies?
Yeah. I think he dies, doesn't he? I'm pretty certain he dies.
I mean, we don't see him again, so maybe we're...
No, I think it was... Yeah, he's died because there's no whiskey. I mean, it is... Well, yeah, because they say it's the water of life as he's died.
As he's lying in his bed in the middle of the day. The scene in it that I really liked was the scene with Dr. McLaren and the old fella in bed, and he's like, oh, you've got to have your... I mean, it just goes to show how much of its time the film is. The guy's supposed to have some sort of chronic or potentially even terminal health condition. It's not really touched upon, and the doctor prescribes tobacco and gives him his spare pipe and then starts giving him whiskey when they get hold of the whiskey. He's got in his water bottle, and it revives him enough that he's able to get out of bed and run to the phone box to warn them about the customs guys coming in.
The doctor says to him, we can't have you giving up smoking as well. Like, doctor's orders. Like, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? This is mental. But yeah, I'd have taken you a dram if we had, but no, you're right. And then he's got it in his hot water bottle later on. Yeah, wonderful. It truly is the water of life. And smoking's fine as well. But yeah, I did love that scene. It's great.
Yeah, we can't have you giving up smoking as well as everything else. Here's a pipe of mine.
I couldn't be robbing you of your own pipe, Doctor. You're too kind altogether.
Doctor's orders. I have another one.
And then when they finally get hold of the whiskey off the ship and they're celebrating, they've got like massive drams, but one in each hand. You know what I mean? It's it's just it's very much of its time. You know.
Well, I mean, that's the way that the island of Toddy is portrayed. Like, there's little to do except work, chat, and have a drink in the pub.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like a fucking great place to live.
It does, yeah. Simple
life. It just seems like a wonderful place. Simple place. Locals are self-sufficient, happy people with few and simple pleasures. It sounds like absolute bliss. It's like, 100 miles away from the nearest cinema and stuff. And it just sounds like wonderful little self-sufficient. You just get on with things. You know everyone. You just have a dram in the evening. Oh, lovely. Go and see Peggy and her sister and have a little flirt, go home, knock one out to them. And it's perfect. It's perfect. It's got a beach.
It's got a beach.
Some nice caves. It just looks like a wonderful place to live. Lovely.
It's I mean the movie didn't the producers didn't think when they saw the cut, the sort of final cut, that it was very good, and they were thinking about maybe putting it on to like a double feature like they used to have back then, or they had to film a few more scenes in the studios in London to kind of flesh it out, and they weren't even going to put any marketing behind it because the head of Ealing Studios, a guy called Michael Balcon, thought that the film was rubbish and people wouldn't like it and blah blah blah, and it was only really because some members of the press went to see the film. They didn't even do like a press screening, but they went to see it and they wrote about it, and it was kind of forced to market it because it was getting such favourable write-ups in the news that it was forced to market it, and it was the studio's biggest success in the US up until that point as well. And it's kind of funny because the morals of the film, the people, the sort of authority figures like Captain Paul and the guy that owns the bar and the policeman, they're kind of, they're sort of ridicule, whereas the cheeky islanders who are committing like a serious crime, serious fucking crime, nicking, they're supposed to have got like 200 cases, I think, of the whiskey off the boat or something. I mean, those rowing boats are dangerously overloaded. I don't know how they don't sink. And there's the Biffa Biffer is him and his two pals are planning to sneak up on Sergeant Odd and like restrain him so he doesn't raise the alarm until they realise that he's one of them, and he's not going to do that, you know. But they even like fucking throw a big roll of barbed wire in front of Captain Waggert's car and burst his tires. Yeah, I mean it's but there is a little bit of a sting in the tail, I suppose, at the very, very end. You know, when they talk about the whiskey running out again. And you know, they're back to being bereft, and we see that little montage of the wee boy looking out the window as the rain's coming down, and the spinning wheel broken, and like all that kind of thing, as if like a plague has just come to town. But yeah, morally dubious, especially for the 1940s, when I guess the world was a bit more of a straight peg.
I did read that the last part of the film that they put on, that little bit at the end, that was put in to get it distributed in America.
Right.
Because they had to show that alcohol is nasty stuff and it can bring unhappiness. It was essentially the 1940s version of Drink Responsibly.
Yeah.
But it was, apparently that was why they had to put it in, which is a bit of a shame, really, because it does kind of like, oh, okay, you know, everyone lived unhappily apart from Peggy and Sergeant Odd because they weren't whiskey drinkers. Like,
yeah.
Okay, that's a bit of a strange thing. You're right, though. You're right, all the locals who are committing a serious crime are kind of like, it's all a bit of fun. And that was a bit of debate, I think, during the filming. The director was on the side of Waggett and everyone else, but the producers were like, no, it's the Islanders that are the heroes of this film. And you're right, like, well, you mentioned a few people there. Waggett obviously is broom up his arse type character. I mean, he must be the basis of Captain Mannering from Dad's Army. Has to be, because he is like a bit of a hapless, even his superiors obviously think he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Even his wife thinks he's a fucking idiot. She's sound. She's wanting the Islanders to get the whiskey because she says that at one point. And then at the end, when he's effectively failed, and I mean, the assumption at the end is he's the 6 bottles of whiskey had been put back in the ammo containers that he had put back. Now, we see that happening. We know that wasn't him, obviously, did it? But he's effectively about to probably take the rap for this. Yeah. And his wife basically just laughs in his face. Like, it's like, she's obviously delighted that he's possibly about to go to jail or something or get into serious trouble. Yeah, a very bizarre character, but obviously not a likable kind of character. But, he does brilliantly in terms of play by Basil Radford, of course. He's great as a character and his foil. The one that you mentioned that I was a little bit like, fucking grass, is the obviously the guy that owns the pub.
Yeah.
Because he grasses them up because he's got his 4 bottles of whiskey off the boat and nobody's buying it. That 4 bottles of whiskey won't last one night.
No,
if everyone's tanning it as much as they are.
Yeah, but was he watering it down though? Because he was said that did soft, didn't he? And he was... was he maybe stretching it out a bit, perhaps?
I'd imagine he probably was a little bit. But yeah, that kind of boiled my piss that he was a grass. And then he happily admits to everyone that he was the one that grassed them up. I mean, if he wasn't the owner of the only bar, people would be boycotting him after that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, until their whiskey ran out.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. And I guess, the other villain that you have really is George's mum. Played wonderfully. So Mrs. Campbell is the character's name, George's mum, played wonderfully by Jean Cadell.
Yeah.
And again, she is this sort of holy, God-bothering woman who is very straight-laced. Nothing amuses her. She's very, the phone can't be used on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
She sends George to his room with his Bible to bread and water because as punishment. And she's really straight-laced, but then she does attend the shindig to celebrate their engagement.
Yeah.
And she's very sour-faced, but then she has a dram and she's fucking smiling and enjoying herself. Yes, that's the model.
Yeah. The moral is chill the fuck out and have a drink, basically, right? Bruce Seton. So I was watching him today when I watched this earlier on. Now, from a certain angle, he looks a bit like me, and I was trying to get because he's got the same hairline and all that, and I thought just from certain angles, I thought he reminds me of myself. It's really weird.
Are you trying to convince yourself you could pull a Peggy?
Yeah, I could definitely pull a Peggy. I don't know if I could pull that Peggy. Yeah, well, he's the English sort of proper soldier, right? Who's been sent to work with the Home Guard to kind of whip these islanders into soldiers. But he's very much on the side of the islanders. He's obviously, whether that's because he's trying to persuade the lovely Peggy to marry him, or it's through a genuine desire to be a good guy. It's never really clear. But that guy, Bruce Seton, is actually a royal connected.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he's, what was his title? Sir, he's the 11th Baronet, Sir Bruce Lovett Seton. Yeah.
Now, you see, I thought, because he's been away for 2 years, 3 months. He's come back. He's obviously wants Peggy. He asks her to marry him. She's not too keen, but she kind of says yes. Then he asks her dad. I do love that scene where her dad's basically just like, oh, can we discuss this tomorrow? Like, he cannot be arsed. He's just wanting to go to his bed because he knows he wants to get up and go and get that whiskey. So he's just like, oh, we'll discuss this tomorrow. Then you're right, of course, in terms of Waggett comes round and then Odd and Waggett are having a chat about the whiskey. And then the dad comes back down effectively saying, it's blackmail. Like, you need whiskey in order to have this sort of engagement party celebration.
The Rager.
The Rager. I think that switches Odd's standing. Like, I think he was going to go along with in terms of protecting it, because that's orders effectively. But then I think he's like, well, it's the only way I can get into Peggy's heart and undergarments probably, because he does say they haven't made love yet. So I presume that's what sways him in terms of being a good guy and helping out.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the thing is, like, there's so many characters in this. It's difficult really to ascertain who the lead actor, who the lead character is in it. But in terms of the Islanders, Gordon Jackson's got quite a lot of story. The situation with his mother. He's supposed to be teetotal until they get hold of the whiskey, and the whiskey gives him the courage to stand up to his domineering mother after 4 or 5 drams, But the rest of them, they're just sort of there for, like, Biffer is quite a funny character, because he's the one that finds out about the whiskey when he rows out to help the guys after the ships ran on the rocks, and he's asked what the cargo is, and when, well, it turns out to be Compton Mackenzie, I found out after I'd seen the film, tells him, he falls back in the boat, blown away by the fact there's all these drams just within touching distance.
And then the montage of him running around the island telling everyone, and everyone excited. One of my favourite parts. I think Biffer is my favourite character. He's such a cool character, but that scene of him running around, and it's so well done. I mean, it looks a bit naff in some points that he's just standing there running on the spot at one point, but it still looks pretty cool, and running, telling everyone. And then I guess he has one of the mild peril moments when they're on the boat stealing the whiskey, and he's effectively, the boat's about to sink and he's still on it, getting the whiskey, him and George. But then, of course, it's all going to be fine and they're going to get away. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, they couldn't kill Biffer. Fucking hell.
No. But I agree with you. I think that, it's only 82 minutes long, but it does feel like there are too many characters in this film. I would have perhaps liked to have seen a few of the core characters expanded a bit. Like, maybe a bit more about George and his mum, a bit more about Biffer.
Yeah.
More of Peggy. But, a little bit rather than introducing new characters. And it does seem a little bit too much in this short, small film, like, to follow. You're right, in terms of there's too many people.
I guess that's sort of the formula, though, for these Ealing comedies, though, right? It's, you want to have, they're kind of big ensemble pieces. I think it's the Lady Killers that's got like Alec Guinness, Peter Sellers, like a sort of like all these guys in it. You know, Alec Guinness is, I guess he's got the kind of the sort of headline in it, but you know, it's very much an ensemble. But he's probably just got the headline because he's the most well known at the time. So yeah, I get, you know, but look, I don't know. I mean, it's not often that I watch movies from the 1940s. I can't even tell you. Maybe like the 39 Steps, like one of the versions of. There's been about 4 or 5 different versions of the 39 Steps, I think, over the years. Maybe that's the last one, but that's very much got like a main protagonist in it. You know. So
yeah, you're right. If I think about, I mean, the only time I've watched probably films from the 40s or so would have been on a Sunday afternoon when there's fuck all else on TV and Lost in Space is finished. You're flicking channels and oh great, it's fucking 7 Brides for 7 Brothers is on BBC 2. Oh great, I'll go and play with my Lego. Rather than watch this pish. So I think, it probably is a case. There was like larger casts in terms of being able to get thing in. But yeah, I think maybe the way that it was done back then, I can agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think one thing they do very well in this film, though, is the heist itself. Like, it's really well done because it's quick.
Yeah.
It's not drawn out. It's over pretty fast. Wee bit of peril when I think Biffin and George might be in danger. But otherwise, it's not like a huge set piece as such in terms of a big part of the film. It's quite a quick part, really, the actual heist in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I remembered it as the heist being a bit earlier in the film, and the sort of customs guys and Captain Wackett trying to find the whiskey. You know, I for some reason I had it in my head that was more of the sort of third act of the film, was because after they've got the whiskey, it's only about 25 minutes until the end of the film, I think. It gets almost an hour in before they get it. And that brilliant scene where they're hiding it, you know, in all the different places that they're hiding it. Like, I've laughed out loud when they put the 2 bottles in the baby's crib and then put a cushion in and put the baby on top of it. It just really made me chuckle. I feel like that scene has been parodied a lot over the years.
Yeah, and I think it was quite inventive. The baby made me laugh, and then they're putting it in a pie and covering it with a pastry. They're putting it in the gutters of the house. And finding all these inventive places to hide these bottles of whiskey. I also liked the fact that when they get the whiskey and you see them drinking it, there's just all these open bottles, but they're not sticking with one. Like, they're not drinking. There's bottles of like Ballantines. There's bottles of Cutty Sark. Yeah. There's bottles, like, all the whiskey's open. They're not like just, we'll open this box and then this box and then this box. No, they're tearing into everything that they can get their hands on at that moment.
Well, apparently United Distillers, who were like one of the big whiskey producers at the time, held a special dinner for the cast and crew, and everybody got a bottle of whiskey because, like, to your point, it was essentially an advert for their whiskies, for their brands. You know, and I think one of the less favourable reviews the film got, like, that point was made. This is basically just an advert for whiskey, like an 80-minute advert for whiskey.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, it didn't discriminate as such, you know, in terms of, especially nowadays when everything's just fucking shoved down your throats in terms of branding and marketing. But this was, I thought very well done in terms of everyone has their different choice. There's no discrimination. All the whiskies are equal. Everything's fine.
Coming back to Peggy and Katrina, like, when they're first when they're first introduced, Peggy's smoking a fag and Katrina's putting lipstick on. Katrina's smoking a fag and Peggy's putting lipstick on in the shop. When the dad comes in, Mr. McCroon comes in, and he says one with stick lip, which I don't know if that was a mistake or that was supposed to be like that. And one's smoking. And then when Sergeant Odds comes back on the boat and he sees Mr. McCroon, and he asks him how Peggy and Katrina are doing, and he says, oh, you know, both wearing makeup and smoking. And he's like, oh, good for them. Again, just everybody's just a big fan of, like, smoking.
Yeah. Both smoking like chimneys. Yeah.
Well, smoking, that's what he says, smoking like a pair of chimneys.
Yeah. Well, doctor's orders, in some places on the island, so it definitely has to be done. I did have to rewind one part where George is speaking to his mum, and because George has proposed to Katrina, although you kind of get the impression that Katrina's kind of forced this upon him, but who cares? I mean, if Katrina was to force me into marriage, I would. I'd be thinking of Peggy, but I would be. Katrina is nice enough. They are having a bit of an argument. He's a teacher, and she comes in and she's having a go at him, and she's going on about spare the rod and spoil the child. And I did have to rewind it because I thought at one point she said, "How often did I catch you in the black cunts?" But she says black currants.
Yes.
But the way she says it, I really had to pause that and check.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. It's sort of like kind of Carrie vibes between George and his mum, isn't it?
It's very strange, especially the scene where they're having an argument and she says, "That'll be it. No church for you today." You're like, well, it's not really a punishment, is it?
I know. George going, yes.
Sends him to his room, and then he's got to sneak out of his room to go and do the heist.
I know.
It's
bizarre. He looks about 35 years old.
I do not approve of the use of that instrument on this day.
Oh, but Mother, we must move with the times.
Satan has made you very glib, my son. What times will there be to move with in eternity?
Oh, no, you're being ridiculous.
Don't you ridiculous me.
Now, look, Mother,
Go to your room, George Campbell. There'll be no church for you in Snorvik today.
But she's a real foil in terms of for the captain.
Yeah.
She's a real foil for Captain Waggett because she's not taking any of his shit when he's phoning and he turns up and nah. So she's the perfect kind of foil for him.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, it's a bit weird that whole kind of dynamic. It's a little hard to perhaps get on board with because he's like twice her size, clearly far too old to be living at home. You're just like, I'm not sure that he would put up with this kind of thing from his mother. But then I suppose it sets up the yet another amazing purpose of whiskey, and that it can help you stand up to your mum, your dominating mother. It can help you get better when you're bedridden with a chronic illness, all these kind of things. There's a bit of a chat. There's a bit of a talk about Gaelic, isn't there, in the film? And does Sergeant Odd not use a bit of Gaelic when he's talking to Peggy because she's teasing him? She says, "Well, if you ask me in Gaelic, then I think about it." Yes,
he does. Yeah, she wants to speak the Gaelic, and she's obviously a bit... I think it's after he's proposed and she's kind of like, well, no, I want to speak Gaelic. And he's, I guess, learned a couple of phrases or words and she's kind of saying, oh, well, if you're using Gaelic on me. So yeah, there is a little bit of mention of that, I guess, to maybe that was shoehorned in to show in terms of the island that they do speak, if they are speaking English.
A bit of authenticity, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly could be.
Will you marry me, Peggy?
Oh, 'tis a foolishness.
Anybody else?
Anybody else where?
Oh, anybody else wants to marry you.
If you want to be cheeky, you must be cheeky in the Gaelic.
You mean if I was to say it in Gaelic, you'd give me an answer?
Perhaps I would. But you cannot be saying it, can you?
Oh, girl, Ackham Post. Damposa me.
Learning the Gaelic just to take the eyes out of me. It would be a shame to be so deceitful.
Well, what about it?
And of course, all the build-up is of the Sabbath. And it is a hilarious part where as soon as the clock strikes midnight, the men just all shuffle away disappointed of like, well, we can't do anything. It's Sunday. So they have to go to church and then you see them just staring at the boat, willing it to be midnight. And as soon as that clock strikes midnight, it's a great scene where they all just come scuttling out.
Yeah.
And they're all like, okay, we can do it now. We can do it. It's over. Sunday's over. We can get on with things. But yeah, I thought that was very well done in terms of that. Like, it's a whole day we've got to wait before we can do this.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, like when we see Captain Wackett turning in and it's midnight, right? When he's getting into his single bed and his wife getting ready to get into her single bed, because I don't think they were allowed to show couples in bed together back then. I think it was part of the film code. And it's midnight, and he goes to bed happy because he knows that he's put Sergeant Odd on guard duty. But then the next morning, he goes to get Odd, and Odd tells him, he finds him tied up, and he tells him that he's been tied up there for the last 4 hours. And you're like, well, then Blackett must be running on 3.5 hours sleep. If that's the case.
Yeah, because, well, that's the thing, because he does say, you take from midnight and I'll relieve you at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then, but when he comes at 4, it does seem like it is a bit like daylight, as you say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. He's running on very little sleep. And yeah, bizarre.
Yeah.
Situation. I don't know. The timing was a little bit off, I think. I mean, even at midnight, it still looks light when everyone's coming out. But I presume that's, obviously you can't film in the pitch black because you wouldn't be able to see them. But it did seem a little bit off in terms of that situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why he's so fucking, he's so tightly wound, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have anything else on Whisky Galore that we haven't mentioned?
I mean, the only thing to mention, really, because I feel we've done it a disservice by not speaking too much, but it is a very short film. It's a very simple premise. I mean, it's great if you haven't seen it. They did remake this in 2016, starring Eddie Izzard, James Cosmo, Gregor Fisher, Brian Pettifer, and pair of cheeky scamps, Ian Robertson and Kevin Guthrie. I don't know if the remake was that well received. I think it was very much based on Izzard playing Waggett, and I don't know. I mean, I've never seen it. I don't know if I want to see it. Maybe we'll pick it at one point to kind of compare. But I've got a funny feeling that film's going to go into a lot more detail. And I did watch the trailer, and it does seem it kind of goes into like Peggy and Odd's relationship a lot more. So I think I've got a funny feeling that film probably cuts down the number of characters, but builds up the characters that it actually has. But I don't know. I haven't seen it, and no real desire to either.
I mean, it has its credentials are good. I mean, it's directed by Gillies McKinnon, who directed Small Faces. It's written by Peter McDougall. The screenplay is by Peter McDougall.
I didn't realise that. Okay.
I did read a review of it, and it's the last bit of the review said that the gentle 1940s comedy of the original is kept intact.
Okay.
So I think it's only got 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, I think there's probably a bit of, well, what's the point? Why would you remake this film? Sort of thing that these remakes often get. I think somebody at Empire said it was too restrained and polite to really grip the attention. So it's probably because it's tried to stay true to the sort of gentle comedy of the original. Maybe like the sort of modern audience are a bit kind of, we want to see Peggy take her clothes off or something like that, and you want to see George like smother his mother with a pillow or something like that. Mind you, George is played by Kevin Guthrie, so anything could happen there, right? Yeah,
less said about that the better, I would say, definitely. There was a sequel to this made. Are you aware of that?
Rockets Galore,
where the islanders of Toddy mobilised against a missile site being built there. Failed to capture the charm of Whisky Galore, apparently. Now, I did think, does Local Hero owe quite a lot to Whisky Galore in a way?
I think so. I think that Local Hero feels like it's sort of a sort of spiritual kind of, I don't know, not a sequel, but, it feels like it could be part of the same universe, to use modern parlance. You know what I mean?
The Whisky cinematic universe.
Well, I tend to think that Bill Forsyth is probably quite influenced by the Ealing movies because, all his films are like fairly gentle humour, albeit obviously in a more modern environment. He does lose his way a little bit with Gregory's Two Girls, unfortunately. Maybe that's why he's not made a film since. But stuff like Gregory's Girl, That Sinking Feeling, Local Hero, as we mentioned, Comfort and Joy, they're all there's a lot of similar themes, kind of community and there tends to be like an ensemble of quite memorable characters in each of them, isn't there?
Yeah, and I do think there are things in this that I could see in a Bill Forsyth film. Like when Sergeant Odd's boat comes in and you see all of the local men standing there like zombies weighing, and then when they get there's no whiskey, they all kind of like, oh, okay, well, I wasn't expecting anything anyway, and shuffle off. I could see that in a Bill Forsyth film. And a lot of the little kind of asides and little funny things that happen, definitely. Could see that. So yeah, I can see a little bit of homage taken from that. Yeah.
Okie dokie. So shall we put Whisky Galore through our Culture Swally awards?
Let's do it, Greg. What have we got first?
So the pub, the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. There's only one pub on the island, but it looks like a belter. We're quite happy spending an evening or two in there, I imagine, by the fireside, shooting the breeze. Although, did you get the name of the pub?
I didn't actually.
No, I didn't.
I don't know if it was actually mentioned. Was it?
I don't think it was. Okay, our next award then is the James Cosmo Award for being everything Scottish.
I went with Gordon Jackson for this, purely because I recognised him. I looked him up. I looked up a few of the actors and did see what they'd been in, and there's a few contenders. But yeah, Gordon Jackson, like, I recognised him, and obviously it's probably from The Great Escape.
Yeah.
But he reminded me quite a lot of the actor Douglas Russell,
right?
In a way, who's in like Let Us Pray, and I think he's in Ned's. He's in Department Q.
Yes, yeah,
he played recently. He reminded me a little bit of him. But yeah,
I can see where you're coming from there. I had Gordon Jackson too, because I just remember him from watching The Professionals on a Friday night. Mm-hmm. You know, when I was wee, and then watching The Professionals on a Monday afternoon when I was an adult. When I was off work. Okay, next, we have mentioned it as a gentle comedy, but our next award would usually be the Jake McQuillan, your Teazoot Award. Closest thing I could get to is when Odd puts the boy in his arse when he sneaks up behind him.
That is exactly what I have, Greg, because that's the only thing I could really find that was a little bit of violence. And yeah, that's exactly what I put. There's nothing else really. I mean, you could say maybe the barbed wire around the car. No one really gets hurt as such, but I guess, that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. So the next two awards are a bit redundant for this episode. It would usually be the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing, or the Hugh McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity. Nobody takes their clothes off in this, although it does look like Captain Wackett's wife is just about to before the camera pans away.
It does say a lot. The worst swearing that I could write down that I heard was, I do believe Sergeant Odd at one point says, "Well, stone the crows."
Yeah, it does.
And that was that's the worst language in the film.
Yeah, I know.
It's great.
I know, it's just, I mean, like, obviously we mentioned Bruce Setton but he's a bit of a blue blood, comes from a kind of royal line and everything. And this was obviously what he thought common folk spoke like, what he thought geezers spoke like, right? Stone the crows. Yeah. Okay, so that takes us on then to archetypal Scottish moment.
You do have the point. I mean, obviously the whole film is very stereotypical. You could talk about whiskey, you could talk about the distrust. I mean, let's go with what we often go with, which was distrust of Englishmen or something. There is the wonderful point when the doctor does call Waggett a stupid, stuffed-up Sassenach, which is what I've gone with, basically.
Yeah. For my archetypal Scottish moment, I've got whiskey as the cause of and the solution to all of life's problems.
Wonderful. Yeah, happily go with that. That's wonderful. Yeah, I would say so.
And then the winner, the Big Tam Award, who wins Whisky Galore?
Well, Joan Greenwood stole my heart.
Yeah.
But I would say, for me, honestly, Biffer's great, but it's Jean Cadell as Mrs. Campbell. She steals it for me. She's such a great character. I mean, you could say it's a smaller part, but technically in this film, all the parts are small. I guess, Captain Waggett is probably the biggest part. But yeah, what about you? Who did you go for?
I had But what's his name? Let me get his name right. I had Morland Graham, who plays the Biffer. The Biffer.
Okay.
We never get to know what his actual name is. I just really liked him. But I mean, I suppose the real winner of this movie is the Scottish whisky industry, to be quite honest.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think it probably is. You're very right there, actually. Yeah.
Nothing but positivity. Towards the great dram. So if you want to watch number 67 in the 100 greatest British films of all time, you can rent it off Apple. It's on Mubi. If you remember a Mubi, you can stream it on there. I do recommend giving it a watch if you haven't seen it before, because it's a little heart warmer.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a lovely film. Very gentle, very nice. No bad language, no nudity, no violence as such. It's a lovely little film. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Anyway, so it was my choice this week. What are we watching for the next episode?
Well, Greg, the next episode will be out on the 30th of October, the day before Halloween. So it's time for a Swally Spooktacular. So this year, I am going to take our love of anthology series.
Okay.
And do an episode of one rather than a horror film. But it's a corker. And I can't remember. I think you've seen it. I don't know if you have. I think you have. But if not, we'll speak about it anyway. So from 2023, I want to take a look at the second episode of the 6th series of Black Mirror. And it's the episode titled Loch Henry. When a young couple, you have seen Loch Henry. So when a young couple travel to a sleepy Scottish town to start work on a documentary, but find themselves drawn to a juicy local story involving shocking events from the past. Available on Netflix, Loch Henry, that's Black Mirror Series 6, Episode 2, on the next episode of the Culture Swally. So you have seen it before?
I have seen it. I watched it when it was not long after it was released. I've not watched very many of the Black Mirrors. I don't know why, because it's the sort of thing that's sort of right up my street. But I did watch that one. I think a mutual friend recommended it. And I did think, I wonder if we'll end up doing this in the Culture Swally at some point. And 2, 3, 4 years later, we're doing it.
I thought it was a good time for it, and it's only an hour long, so it's perfect. Right, wonderful. Okay, Loch Henry on the next episode. All right, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to leave us a little rating, review, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, that would be much appreciated. And you can email us. We're on cultureswally@gmail.com. with anything you've seen you'd like us to review, any news stories, or if you just want to say hello, then just drop us a line. You can follow us on Insta @cultureswallypod, and we have a wonderful website as well, don't we, Greg?
We do. You can get us at cultureswally.com. Where there's links to other socials. There's actually, since it's Halloween coming up, there's an article all about the influence of Scottish folklore on movies, Hollywood movies, etc. So give that a read if you've got time. And that's it. That's all that's going on. I'll have to get around to updating the website. It's been a few weeks. I'll do it maybe this week.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, Greg, we've been recording this. Aberdeen, we haven't scored a goal in 6 games in the league this season, haven't won a game. We've been recording this whilst we've been playing. We're currently beating Dundee 4-0.
What?
So I hope you're happy. I've missed that to record this. So never mind. I'll watch the highlights later, but yeah. So are you up to anything exciting this Sunday evening, Greg?
No, it's 7:45 here. So I shall be getting ready for the week, making myself some lunches for the next couple of days, and going to bed. That is about as exciting as it gets, mate. What about you?
Wonderful. Nothing too exciting. I'll finish this. I'll probably go and make some dinner. And then who knows? Might watch this week's Bake Off. So it's very exciting as well, Greg. Very exciting.
Actually, an exciting day of football because both Rangers and Celtic are drawing. So that could be that. So Hearts' place at the top of the table looks secured. And who are you closest? Who's closest to you in the league?
I don't know. I mean, we're bottom and we'll still be bottom after this game. Dundee are closest to us, and Falkirk. But I'd rather they drew with Rangers, and we'll catch them eventually. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're bottom of the league, but technically, if we win our next game, we'd go up to 8 or something. So or
If you
9.
win,
So
if you win today, that'll put you up on 7 points, right? So you'll be 9th.
no, that league table's live. We've only got 1 point.
Oh, right, I see.
So
Oh,
we'll be
okay.
on 4. So yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves, mate. Okay, right. Well, wonderful. Well, I hope you have a lovely evening. And until next time.
Until next time.
There are more people in Snorvik, but they are not so nice as the people of Caribou, because they are so stuck up. The Island Queen is a beautiful boat, but there was no whiskey this week. And when there is no whiskey, we are all very sad.